Hello and welcome to the PharmAssist Virtual Learning Experience, an educational program created by Mandel's Clinical Pharmacy to bring you together with outstanding healthcare professionals right from the comfort of your very own home. Before we get started, I'd just like to read the quick disclaimer that we have here. It says the PharmAssist Virtual Learning Experience, brought to you by Mandel's Clinical Pharmacy, is intended only as an educational program for patients. Any clinic-specific information shared by the nurse is the opinion of that nurse and is not intended to replace the recommendations or requests of your healthcare professionals. All medications will be dispensed by Mandel's Clinical Pharmacy according to the prescription as written by the provider. The PharmAssist program takes place every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, and tonight we'll be providing a live medication instructional program on 3 fertility products, including interactive Q&A throughout the program. We are joined by various amazing HCPs each week from across the nation to provide you with a real-world experience, just as if you were sitting across the table from them in their clinic. And today, we are joined by Laurel Meier. She is an IVF case manager in California for 13 years. And we are also available via Zoom and Facebook Live. We invite you to be a part of the discussion by sharing your questions through either format. Thank you again for your time and interest this evening. And I now want to turn it over to Laurel Meier. Take it away, Laurel.
Thank you, Craig. Wanted to let you know that we're going to be going over 3 medications tonight. The Gonolife pen, Menipure, and Avid. And we'll be showing the video on each one, and then we'll have a question and answer session after each video. So we encourage you to write in your questions. Any question you have, I know many people have it, so please feel free to write in your questions and we'll answer them at the end of every video. Please keep your questions focused on how to use the medication and save your clinical questions for your IVF case manager team. So these videos from PharmAssist, they're including tonight's video, is going to be available and are available to watch at your convenience at mymandelsPharmacy.com. So you can watch this anytime. I'd like to share a story about how I got interested in becoming an IVF case manager. About 25 years ago, I was working as a labor and delivery nurse, and my husband and I started having problems getting pregnant. We ended up needing IVF, and after many long years, we were finally able to build our family. It was a very difficult process with lots of ups and downs, with failed cycles and an adoption that fell through, but then a successful adoption and a successful frozen embryo transfer cycle. And now my 2 beautiful daughters are 16 and 20 years old. And I tell this story because I know how hard the process is. And I feel blessed to be part of your journey. This is why I became an IVF case manager. I know you are all going through a difficult time right now, and I want you to know I understand. I know you wish you were already pregnant, and the waiting and not knowing is excruciating. But I encourage you to take this process one day at a time and keep the faith. You will get through this, and you will build your family. So tonight, my goal is to help you gain the courage and confidence to give yourself these injections. And I know, by the end of your IVF cycle, you will feel like a pro. So Craig, go ahead and start the first video on Gonolife. Hi, my name is Laurel, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Gonolife pen. The Gonolife pen is a really cool little pen here. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is dial your dose that the clinic has told you to take. And if you go too far, you can just dial it back. You can go back and forth. It's not going to hurt the pen. So just find your dose. A typical dose is 300 units. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate today. Not sure if you could see that very well, but there's 300 units. You take your needle, pull off the tab. There's a needle on this side, which goes in to access the medication. You twist it all the way on, and then you pull off the outer two caps. You find a spot in your tummy, anywhere in your tummy, as long as it's at least an inch away from the belly button. And you don't want to inject into a spot that already has a little bruise or any soreness or redness from a previous shot. You're going to find a spot in the belly that has some fatty tissue that you can squeeze. You're going to squeeze the belly, go straight in like a dart, let go of the squeeze, and inject the medication. It will click, 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 click until it's already all instilled. In the little window, you will see 0, and you'll know that you're done. So you wait 3 seconds, have a Kleenex handy, pull out, and hold your skin. If after about 10 to 15 seconds, your skin is dry, then you're done. If you do notice some medicine leaking out or some bleeding, which can happen, it's not something that is a problem, but you just need to hold your skin a little longer until it's dry. The pen now has a medication still left in it, so you don't want to throw that away. You want to take your large cap, slide it on there, twist it off. This part will go in the sharps container, and then the cap goes back on the pen, and you can put it back in the refrigerator for the following injection. And that's all there is to that. So, do you have any questions for me? I know that there are plenty, so please feel free to write them in.
Yes, and thank you very much. And one quick thing I just want to share with everybody once again, if you are joining us via Zoom or in Facebook, either way, you can type your questions directly into the Q&A section on Zoom, or you can go right into the chat and ask us any questions that you may have based on the video we played so far, as well as maybe anything else that you have for Laurel tonight. And so we do have a question that just popped in actually on Zoom. Somebody said, what is the difference between the 300 pen and the 900 pen? I have one of the 900.
Okay, so that's a good question. The 900 pen has 900 international units of fluid, of medication in it. The 300 pen has only 300 units in it. That is absolutely the only difference. They are the same strength. Each of those pens has an extra of 100 to 125 units of extra medication in as well, called an overfill.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Here we go. Now, questions are popping in quickly. So you should put the needle in fast rather than slowly. That came from, I believe, Desiree on the Zoom.
And was that a question? I'm not sure.
The question is,
fast, slow, it's up to you, as long as you get the needle in and you give the medication.
Perfect. Okay, so faster is better than slow, people. I think you'll notice, and you guys will all hear. We've asked this question, or we've said this before and shared this on other on other PharmAssist virtual learning experiences. But one of the things you'll notice that a lot of people will have some of the same questions, and any question you're thinking of, somebody else wants to ask it as well. To Laurel's point earlier, and any questions that you may have about trepidation, things like this, injection itself. These are great things we want to put to rest early so that you can be a pro by the time you're ready to give that first injection. So feel free to bring those questions on, and we're ready to go with this question that just came in. Says, should I treat the area before an injection? Should I expect it to be painful? I'm not sure.
Okay, so Gonolife is one of those medications that people don't complain about much. There's maybe a little teeny poke when you first put the needle in. And if you want, you can ask your provider to order you Emla cream, which is a numbing cream that you can put on ahead of time. Not really needed, but if you want to, you can. Especially if you have a needle phobia, you might want to do that. Cinera patch is another option. It's also a numbing patch that you can use beforehand. And you can ice the site for about 30 seconds to numb the skin a little bit, and that can help too. But most people don't really need anything to prep. I mean, a little alcohol is a good idea to prep the skin first, but it's not absolutely necessary.
Thank you very, very much, Laurel. This question that just came in and says, I don't have enough for a full shot. How should I proceed? Do I take 2 shots? Do I add the remainder to tomorrow's shots? Or do I just use whatever I have left and then proceed as normal for tomorrow?
Okay, so if you open your pen and you see how much is left and you don't have enough for a full shot, you have a choice. You can go ahead and take that pen and put it back in the refrigerator and take out a new pen. And you know you're going to have enough for a full dose with a new pen, and you can go ahead and give your shot that way. Or you can dial your dose on that pen that does not have quite enough for a full dose. You can dial your dose on that pen and then give yourself the shot. And when you're done with that shot, the pen will not read 0, okay? So you'll give the shot and you'll notice that it doesn't go all the way to 0. And it just means that the pen is now empty. So whatever the number is in this window, you're going to dial to the next pen, a brand new pen, you're going to dial this number, and you're going to give yourself a second shot to complete the dose. Good question.
Perfect. All right, let's see. Something that just came in. Okay, related but not exactly the same. So let's see. I've used the full labeled amount on the pen, but there still seems to be some medication left in the pen. Can I actually use that, or should I just discard what's left?
Good question. So as I mentioned earlier, there's an extra amount in every pen, 100 to 125 units. And you absolutely shouldn't discard this because that is perfectly good medication. So I would keep that in the refrigerator. If you need to use that medication, your clinical nurse can help you learn how to either draw out that medication into a syringe to give it as one shot, and you can use that extra in each of your pens to do that. Or you can do what I just explained, where you dial your dose on the first pen, you give your shot, and then you can take what's in the window, dial your next pen to that number, give your shot, and keep doing that as long as you need to give yourself the full shot until it says 0.
Thank you. All right, so we have some other questions. Couple just came in, so I apologize if I am butchering your name, but it looks like Philippa Ritchie in the Zoom is asking, do you have to worry about air bubbles? Question that comes up almost every single week. People are very nervous about this because they've seen enough movies about this. So love to hear your
So little air bubbles are not going to do any damage at all. Don't have to worry about them. You do hear things about a lot of air getting into your vein through an IV that can cause damage, but a subcutaneous shot, a little air bubble is not going to make any difference at all. You won't notice it a bit. Not a problem.
Perfect. Hopefully that makes people feel much more comfortable and not nearly as stressed about that, and don't listen to what you see in the movies or in the TV shows and things like that. You'll be fine. How about this came in? So we did talk a little bit about most of these questions. If we can keep them to more generalized questions, not specific to people's individual dosages or time of day, things like that, that should always be referred back to your healthcare professional. But one quick question that just came in from Meredith. I do not see my dosage on any of my paperwork. How do I know how much to take?
That you will have to refer back to your IVF case manager. She'll be able to tell you how much to take.
Hey, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew. So that's how we do. We're trying to make sure that we're giving more general discussion questions. If you do have questions about your specific, the way that your nurse or your doctor laid it out to you, you should bring that back to your healthcare professional, and they will be able to get you those exact answers on your dosages and so forth. So,
right, and they don't always tell you your dose before you start your IVF cycle. They may be telling you your dose at your baseline ultrasound. So don't fret. They will get you that information, but obviously you'll need it before you start your medication.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now this is a little bit more open-ended, but this is a great question for people to really understand what's happening throughout their fertility cycle. It's very basic. It just says, I'm not exactly sure, but how does Gonolife work during my cycle? What is the purpose?
Good question. Okay, so Gonolife is purified FSH, and FSH stands for follicle stimulating hormone. And in a natural menstrual cycle, follicle stimulating hormone is made by the body in smaller amounts than with IVF, and that small amount will trigger one follicle to mature, one egg to mature and ovulate. But in an IVF cycle, we give a large amount of FSH or Gonolife in order to recruit as many antral follicles or as many eggs as possible so they can all reach maturity at around the same time, and with the goal being to retrieve as many mature eggs as possible on egg retrieval day.
Thank you very much for explaining that. And I think there are sometimes we get caught up in answering the questions about how to use it and what you're doing, and we forget about it's really important to know what you're actually what you're getting out of these different medications, especially when you have a couple different ones in a given fertility cycle. So thank you so much, Laurel. As of right now, we are caught up with questions. So I'm going to give people a couple more seconds to get some questions in there. Remember, there is no rush. At the end, you can bring up any questions about any products that we've talked about, so you don't have to feel like you only have a few more seconds to get it in. But in the meantime, I will throw it back over to you, Laurel, in case there's anything that you'd like to share with the people while we're waiting for the next question or the next product.
Sure, yeah. We didn't get any questions about side effects, and I just wanted to mention that Gonolife can cause some redness, bruising at the site, and that's normal and to be expected. You also might have some mood, issues. You might cry a little bit more than usual, or if you don't, it's just something that's going to enhance your moods. Okay, so you're going to have a little bit more tears probably, and that's totally normal too. So just be easy on yourself, give yourself grace during this time of going through your IVF cycle.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. And at this time, we're all caught up with questions. So again, if you have any, or sometimes people will think of questions based on questions they hear. And if you have a question based on an answer, feel free to throw that out to us. But at this time, I believe, Laurel, we are ready to move on to the next product.
Okay. So the next product is Menipure. Go ahead and play the video. Thank you. Hi, my name is Laurel, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to mix and give the Menipure. Menipure comes in little powders, and we're going to use our imagination, and we're going to pretend that there's little white discs of powders in these vials. You'll also need a container of saline, a Q-cap, which is a needleless mixing device, a 3 ml syringe, and a small needle for giving. So make sure you have all your supplies ready. And the first thing you're going to do is take the caps off of your supplies. Now, some clinics are going to order for you 1 vial of Menipure. Others will give you 2 or 3. So just follow your clinic's instructions on how many vials of Menipure. Each vial is 75 units of medication. So if you're told to give 150 units, that would be 2 powders. You're always going to be able to mix this Menipure and give it as 1 shot. So the next thing we're going to do is to peel that off. The Q-cap will go directly on the liquid. Just pop it on and take the plastic covering off so it looks like this. Then you're going to take your 3 ml syringe and you're going to put 1 milliliter of air in the syringe, and you're going to twist it onto the Q-cap. Now, keeping it on a hard surface, you're going to push the air in and invert it. Draw up 1 milliliter of the liquid. So you go a little past the 1 and you push the air out until you're right on 1. Pull off your liquid and put it to the side. Now we're going to pretend to mix the powder. So here's the first powder. You push the Q-cap on, you inject the liquid into the powder, and you swirl it very gently. This powder will instantly dissolve. Now, if you have a second powder that you need to dissolve, you're going to push the air in while it's inverted, pull everything back into the syringe, take the empty vial off, put it to the side, and then do the same thing with the second powder. Push it on, inject this into the powder. It will dissolve immediately. Swirl a little, turn it upside down, push, and pull all the liquid back into your syringe. Now, when you're done with all of the powders that you've been told to inject, you're going to twist everything off while you're still pointing your syringe at the ceiling. And you're going to take your small needle and you're going to add the needle. The needle goes on like this. Twist it on, pull the cap straight off. And now it's time to get rid of that air. So just push until you see a drip of air, a drip of liquid at the tip. And you're ready to give your shot. So this is given in the abdomen. Pick a spot, stay an inch away from the belly button. Don't inject into a spot that has a bruise from a previous shot. Anywhere you can pinch some fatty tissue, just give it a pinch, inject straight in at a 90-degree angle, let go of the pinch, inject your medication, wait 3 seconds, grab a Kleenex, pull out and hold with the Kleenex. After about 10 seconds, check your skin site. If it's dry, no bleeding, you're done. If it's bleeding a little medicine's leaking out, just keep holding it until it's dry. Everything goes in a sharps container, and your next shot, you're going to get a whole new supply. That's all there is to it. All right. So hopefully there's some questions for me.
There are indeed some questions. Okay, so this one just came in on Zoom. Does a Menipure shot cause any injection site reactions?
It can. It can cause a bruise. It can cause some redness and some soreness at the injection site. But those are all to be expected, and they will resolve very quickly.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. This one from Facebook says, does using more liquid to mix make the injection hurt less? I've read this on blogs, but I'm not sure if it's something I should trust.
Okay, so the amount of medication, the maximum that you can use is 2 milliliters for a subcutaneous shot. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd say that that's going to make it hurt more. But if you use too little, if you use a half of a cc, it can make it sting a little bit more because it's a more concentrated medication. So we recommend 1 milliliter for up to 4 vials of Menipure. If you're only doing 1 vial of Menipure, you can use 1/2 of a milliliter, and that's okay. But I don't think it's going to hurt less using less liquid.
Sounds good. And this one, similar, but says, my dose is 4 vials. So I would use, am I correct that I would use only 1 vial of liquid with 4 vials of powder?
Yes, you would only use 1 milliliter of liquid for 4 vials of powder. And you will find that some of that liquid is going to be, little drops will be stuck on the inner wall of the vials as you draw out the liquid from each vial. So you're going to lose a little bit of liquid in the mixing process, but the clinic understands this, it's not a problem. So even though you'll end up with maybe a little less than 1 ml at the end, it's still fine.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you, Philippa Ritchie, for that. I guess somebody may have gotten this question based on the Gonolife as well, but I guess I'm wondering, what does Menipure actually do during the cycle as well?
So it's the same as Gonolife. It's a purified FSH. It has LH, which is luteinizing hormone, in it as well. And so that's also a necessary hormone for the IVF process. So it's going to stimulate the antral follicles to grow and hopefully reach maturity so that you can obtain a lot of eggs during your egg retrieval.
Great. Thank you. And this one says, I received both a long and short needle. Does it matter if I mix it with the needle or the Q-cap? What is the purpose of the Q-cap anyway? You touched on that a little bit, but I think there could be some more questions people have around that.
Sure, yeah. The Q-cap is just a really nice way of mixing it for the needleless system. But if you would like to use a long needle to mix it and then switch over to the small needle to give it, that is perfectly fine.
Sounds great. Okay, I think as of right now, we are pretty much caught up. So I will
Okay.
throw it back over to you again, Laurel, if there's anything you want to share as we get ready to move on to the next product soon. And again, there will be time at the end, so feel free to ask your questions now.
So yeah, one more thing about Menipure, it does tend to sting when you're injecting the medication. It stings more if you give it faster. So my recommendation would be to give this medication very slowly, and you'll find that it doesn't hurt nearly as much.
Perfect. Okay, one actual question that just did pop up was which way of using those two different that somebody, I guess this is a build off of the long and short needle mixing with the needle or the Q cap, says which way would produce less bubbles?
I don't think it doesn't matter. Either way is fine. What produces bubbles is if you shake the vial hard, it's going to make it real bubbly. So you don't want to do that. You just want to gently rotate it like this a little bit for each one. And you'll find that the Menipure dissolves very quickly, very easily.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I think we are all caught up right now with questions. If anything pops up, I'll bring it up during the next. Oh, well, as I was saying that, somebody just said, we touched on this a little bit, but what are the side effects of Menipure compared to the other products out here?
So I would just say that it stings a little bit more when you're giving it. It has some redness at the site sometimes and a little bit of bruising, just like the Gonolife. And then side effects, emotionally, I think that your emotions can be a little bit stronger. So just give yourself grace, as I said before.
Perfect. And obviously one of the best ways to prepare for side effects is to be aware of them. And so that can help you deal with a lot of this. So that's part of the purpose of this program, is to, when you ask these types of questions, we're able to give you heads up on what to expect. And that will then make your process be a lot less of a surprise, which will make you much more of a pro. So thank you for all these amazing questions. With that being said, we are all ready to go and move on. So I'll throw it over to you to introduce the next video.
Okay, the next video is Avid, which is your trigger shot. Hi, my name is Laurel, and today I'm going to show you how to inject the Avid trigger shot. The Avid trigger shot is used to stimulate the final maturation of the eggs in preparation for the egg retrieval. What happens is you give this shot approximately 36 hours prior to the egg retrieval, and it will stimulate the eggs to loosen from the inner follicle wall so your egg retrieval can be successful. Please make sure that you take this shot at the exact time that your clinic tells you to. So to give this shot, you're going to take it out of the box. It comes in a pre-filled syringe, so it's super simple. You just point it toward the ceiling, give it a few flicks, take off the top, and then you want to get rid of that air that's at the top. So you're going to push on the plunger, and you're going to get rid of the air until you see a little drip of liquid at the tip, like that. Now to give the shot, you want to pick a spot in your abdomen, and you can pick any spot you'd like, as long as it's at least an inch away from the belly button, and there's some fatty tissue to squeeze. So this is going to be my abdomen for the demonstration, and what I'm going to do is just give it a good pinch and hold it at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to go in quickly like a dart, let go of the pinch, and then I'm going to inject the medication. Once the medication is completely given, you want to wait about 3 seconds. Take a Kleenex, pull out quickly, and hold your skin with the Kleenex. After about 10 or 15 seconds, you'll check your skin. If it's dry and not bleeding, you're done. If you do see some liquid, or if it's bleeding, you're going to hold it a little bit longer. Recheck it. If it's dry, then you're all done. Now to get rid of this, you're just going to drop it straight into your sharps container without recapping. And that's all there is to it. Okay, Craig. There's probably some questions about Avidril. Be happy to answer anything you have.
There definitely are. Here we go. So you talked about in the very beginning removing the bubbles in the Avidril by tapping it in the beginning. So what happens if I see a bubble in the Avidril? Can it be dangerous? How do I get rid of it?
A lot of questions about bubbles. So yeah, little bubbles are okay. You do want to get rid of the large amount of air that might be in the top of the Avidril syringe. So if you look at your Avidril and you see air there, you want to get rid of that. If you have a bubble down here, you can flick it a little and it will rise to the surface. And then you just push until you see that drip of liquid at the surface.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think obviously, again, people have watched enough soap operas, and so they want to make sure that bubbles are not a problem. And hopefully we've driven home enough that, that now you know how to handle it and to not be afraid of them. So another question based on your presentation, somebody said you mentioned that it's very important to take the shot at the exact time they gave. How important is the timing of the shot? How exact do I need to be, and why do I need to be so exact?
So the purpose of the Avidril, as I mentioned, is to loosen the egg from the inner follicle wall, and it takes the Avidril, it takes this process about 36 hours to do it. So your clinic is going to tell you to take it at approximately, they might do 37 or 38 hours, but approximately 36 hours prior to your scheduled egg retrieval. And it's important to give that shot within 5 minutes of the time that they tell you. If you were to give it too soon and too much time had passed by, there's always a risk of the eggs ovulating, and then we can't retrieve them. After about 38 to 40 hours after the trigger shot is given, there's that chance that you may ovulate, and we would lose the success of the IVF cycle. If you gave it too late, the eggs could still be stuck on the inner follicle wall. And then when we go in to try to retrieve the eggs, they're still stuck. They're not free floating in the fluid, so we wouldn't be able to retrieve them either. So that's why the timing is so very important.
Perfect. Thank you. One question that just came in from Star on Zoom is, if you have there with you, I know obviously the videos were pre-recorded, but if you have there with you something where you can please repeat just the demonstration of the pinching of the skin and the injecting, and how you take the injection out, the needle out of the skin, so as not to hurt, on the way out as well. If possible, if you don't have the stuff there, you can walk through it or talk through it. Perfect.
Got it. Yeah.
Ready to go, Star.
So yeah, Star, no problem. So you're going to pinch your tummy, and if you give it a couple good pinches, it doesn't hurt as much when the needle goes in. So what you'll do, Star, is just pinch, go straight in like a dart, and you want to go quickly because that makes it hurt less too. Let go of the pinch and inject the medication. And you can do this at a moderate speed. It doesn't have to be slow or fast. You're going to want to have a Kleenex handy. After about 3 seconds of letting that medicine absorb into your fatty tissue, then you're going to pull out and you're going to hold your skin with the Kleenex. Just wait till it's dry before you let go.
Perfect. Thank you. And then this is a question.
You can always watch the video again.
Yes, and this is a perfect time to say that all these videos will be archived. So not only the full video, but you will also be able to see these individual videos. So if you're ready to go, and tonight is going to be the night of your first shot, you can queue up the video, watch it with with whoever's going to be assisting with the process, so that they're aware as well. And it's there for you. With the beauty of the internet, you have it ready to go right when you need it. And we will share all the information again on where to find that again at the end, where you can get all of these videos. One question that comes up, and this actually comes up for almost just about every single product at every single time we've done one of these, but does it matter whether you are standing up or laying down when you're taking these medications?
It doesn't. I think the best position is to just sit or stand, because you want your belly to be relaxed and you want the fat be able to squeeze the fatty tissue of your belly. If you're lying down, it would be difficult to squeeze it. So I would just say sitting in a chair in a relaxed position is the best way to get the shot.
And a follow-up question that just came up from that, I'm not actually a big fan of belly shots. Can I give Avidrel in the arm or rear instead?
We do recommend the belly, but if you really do have an aversion to that, you can use the top of the thigh or the upper outer arm instead. We don't recommend the upper outer quadrant of the hip.
Perfect. Thank you. And you mentioned it before, and somebody says here, what does trigger shot mean? You mentioned how Avidrel works, but I guess the concept of just the trigger shot as the name, why do we call it that?
So trigger means to stimulate a reaction. Like when you pull a trigger on a gun, it causes the bullet to come out. Well, when we give Avidrel, it triggers the process of the final maturation of the eggs. It loosens them from the inner follicle wall so that they're free floating in the fluid. And then we can go in with the aspiration needle at the egg retrieval and take out that fluid, and the eggs will come along with the fluid. And we can retrieve them, put them in a test tube, hand them over to the embryology staff, and they can isolate those wonderful mature eggs.
Great. Thank you very much for explaining that one, Laurel. I think those are the questions that sometimes we get caught up, like we said, in the minutia, and you want to get the bigger picture. And this is a great opportunity to ask those questions and to get a little bit of some knowledge about everything that's happening and how all the pieces fit together. So there is a question here that just came in that said, okay, that also we can actually partially answer this a little bit on the pharmacy side as well, but somebody who is asking, generally, that they don't have the medication. When would they know, like, when should they be receiving the different parts of the medication and the different parts of the overall treatment? And this is actually also a perfect time to say, you can always reach out to your pharmacist. We have all of our pharmacists at Mandel's are always available for you to reach out to with questions such as, when should your medication be coming? There's constant contact so that you're never really unaware of when things are being shipped out, when they're supposed to be delivered. You make sure working between your pharmacist and your healthcare professional that medications are coming with plenty of time so that you can open up the package, look through it first, make sure you understand what everything is so that you know that all of your medication is there before you have to even get ready for your shot. So it's not like it's showing up and then, you got to get ready and start taking your shot immediately after that. So that's one of the great things about working directly with the pharmacist at Mandel's, is that we can talk you through all that and answer any of those questions about when to expect those medication shipments to arrive. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to add about that, but that's just...
Well, we recommend to get your medications about a week prior to the first day of injections, just so you can get comfortable with what everything looks like and watch videos as needed.
Absolutely. Perfect. Oh, wow. Now they are starting to come flying in. So let's see what we have. All right. So one quick question here that said, I was told today that I had 2 follicles prior to the trigger shot. Is there a preferred amount of follicles or eggs?
That's a good question. So it's hard everyone's going to have a different number of follicles, and having more follicles is nicer because you'll have more mature eggs that we're able to retrieve. But good to remember that you only need 1 healthy embryo to have a healthy baby. So keep the faith in that one of those 2 eggs is going to create a baby.
Thank you very much. Yes, and these also, understanding what you're getting into and what the outcomes will be are very helpful throughout this process to kind of set your expectations correctly and to understand what you're going through. And that actually ties very well into this next question, also from Star. So Star is really thinking kind of big picture here, and I like this.
Okay.
Are we able to, Laurel, are you able to kind of share more information about the whole process itself from beginning to end with the 5 days of medication here in this situation and the trigger shot? So from when she first starts all the way through to making an egg, just to kind of give an idea of how those different medications work together to get her to her ultimate goal here.
Well, that's a hard question to answer without knowing what your protocol is. Some protocols use Gonolife and Menipure, and then they use something called an antagonist, which is ganirelix or cetrotide, and that medication keeps you from ovulating prior to the egg retrieval. But I don't know your protocol, Star, so I'm not really sure how to answer that. I do know that it typically takes about 10 days of stimulation medication to get to the mature stage. And when your follicles are about 18 to 20 millimeters in diameter, that's when they are mature and you will be told to take your trigger shot.
Perfect. And yes, Star, again, some of these questions are things that, although we could walk through the process, it's very difficult without knowing exactly what you're taking and what you're doing. And those are questions that are much more applicable to your HCP when you're in there, to really have them walk you through each of the medications they're prescribing and how those things are working kind of in concert with one another to get you to the outcome that you're looking for. But hopefully, as we've walked through these 3 products today, we've given you a little bit of a perspective on how each one of these 3 products work. And we're more than happy, like I said, there's always go back. You can check out the PharmAssist other videos that we have available that will show you how other products also work within that. So if you're not necessarily just using these 3 products, there are other videos you can watch that explain how those products work as well to get you to that outcome that you're looking for. So always feel free to check out the PharmAssist page on our page, mymandelsPharmacy.com. You can get more information there. You can reach out to your pharmacist, and you can definitely always connect with your healthcare professional and ask them a little bit more questions about that. So that right now, let's see, I think we are all caught up on questions as of right now. So I will throw it back over to you as we give people, a couple more minutes maybe to type in their questions, and then we're ready to go.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that you can go to mymandelsPharmacy.com and you can watch individual videos that are specific to the medications that you're taking. So you don't have to watch an entire program. You don't have to skip through things. You just type in the one medication or the 2 medications that you want to watch, and you can watch those individual videos, and it doesn't have to have the question and answer commentary either. You can also find these videos on YouTube just by typing in Mandel's Pharmacy and Laurel Meier and the medication you want to watch, and the video, my video, will show up. I just want to make sure that, are there any other questions, Craig, before I close?
No, as of right now, we are good to go, so we can start wrapping it up.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank everyone for your time and your patience, and I just wish everyone the best of luck, and I hope that I have given you the courage to give your own shots. I know you're going to be a pro by the end of this, and good night.
Thank you so much. And Laurel, first off, I just want to thank you, Laurel, for your time and expertise tonight. You've done an excellent job sharing not only the medications and how they work, but giving people some great answers so that they can feel more comfortable. Because remember, our goal is so that you feel like a pro, you're ready to go, you don't have any questions about this, and you are fully focused on the outcomes and not on the process, because the real goal is to get to the end. And so that's what this whole program is for, and hopefully we've gotten you closer to that. And Laurel, you've done an amazing job, and thank you with all of your expertise. You've done a great job sharing that with everyone tonight. I want to thank everyone who joined us via Zoom and Facebook Live, and for sharing all these excellent questions. There were a ton of amazing questions, and we hope that you were all able to learn something from us tonight throughout the process. Do not forget, to Laurel's point, I'd like to echo that all of these full virtual learning experience videos, or we like to call them the VLEs, but the VLEs and the individual product demonstration videos are all available for you to watch on demand on our YouTube page, our Facebook page, and again at mymandelsPharmacy.com/PharmAssist. Everything is there. It's actually broken up by product, or the full videos. You can watch all of that individually as well. So literally the day of, you can queue everything up and be ready to get that last minute run through before you have to give your first shot, and you will be an absolute pro. No fear about that at all. We have here also, I just want to say that in general, I thought a question popped up, sorry, but it was somebody saying, thank you, Star. Thank you for all your great questions, everybody. We look forward to seeing you here
Star.
again. Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
We look forward to seeing you all here again next Monday night. Remember, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard for another great PharmAssist program. Please don't forget to share the PharmAssist program with anyone that you feel can benefit from it, because maybe people that haven't heard about it yet can learn about it from you, and that's the best way for things to get passed on these days. Thank you again for everything, everybody. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night, everybody. See you next week.
Stay safe, good luck, and good night.